Hey friends, it's me, Diana Paquet. Thank you so much for tuning in. I wanted to talk to you today about a productivity, what would the word even be? Little tool that I use to move things forward in my life. So I often get asked, because I've blended a family and I have 5 kids, because I've had several different businesses, and because I get a lot of shit done during the day. How do I remember to do everything? Do I not let things slip? Not to say that I never do. It does happen. And I hate that when it happens. But how do I get the things done that I want to get done? And it's not easy. I actually, because of the way my brain works, I use a calendar on my phone. I use a flat calendar that I actually write everything out with for the following week. And then I actually have reminders that are set on my phone. So I just kind of wanted to go through that process. It has helped me so much to be able to keep the balls in the air, keep the plates spinning, and really kind of enjoy my days rather than feel like I'm getting sort of like pulled along in the day. So one of the first things I wake up to, aside from a great cup of coffee and visiting with my husband, is there's a list that comes up on my phone that starts at 9 o'clock. And it has everything from small things like take my vitamins, I have this like colostrum water, those little like daily things that are easily forgettable. By being able to go through and sort of like knock off those things, like the 4 or 5 things I get done in the morning, including, vitamins, supplement, water, making the bed, things like that. Things I probably would do anyway because I'm in a routine to do them. It helps me get the freight train rolling to start doing other things. And then I have things on my list that are like really important to me that I do every day. So for me, one of the challenges is staying connected with my children. I have a reminder on there. It says text my babies. And so those 4 adult kids, obviously I see Lincoln, my 7-year-old, all day long. She's dependent on being with me, so I see her. But I have 2 of them that don't even live in the house and one that doesn't even live in the area anymore. So being able to text on a regular basis and at least do what I can to reach out and let them know that I'm thinking about them. Now, do I always get a response back? No. But generally I do, and it helps me feel like we're staying close. So those little reminders that come up at 9 o'clock, they're there throughout the day. And hopefully by the end of the day, if I'm hitting my stride by about 5 or 6, all my stuff's done. None of it is like really hard, difficult things. One of them is like text and flirt with Thomas, because that's great for us, right? So whatever those things are for you, you can make yourself a list on your phone. And I have to say, I don't know if it's just my personality type, but I've told clients and friends about this, and I've gotten some great feedback where it's like, yeah, just like being able to kind of like knock off that I've journaled. It doesn't have to be like 5 pages of journaling. It can be sitting down and journaling for 3 or 4 minutes to kind of like get that stream of consciousness out of your head. It really helps to be able to knock those things off. Okay, so there's this other thing that I do, a secondary thing I do with that calendar that's not on my phone, the open calendar. On Sundays, I'll open up my calendar and I'll kind of tally up my week from before with clients at the salon. And so I know I have my number of what number financially I did the week before. And then I'll kind of transfer all the week's events over on paper. It helps me to write it out. I know what days Lincoln has activities that I need to get her to. I know what days I've agreed to carpool with someone else or whatever. It's all on there. I know what days I'm working. I know what days I've got set aside when it's going to be quiet in the house to podcast. And then that's all there. So Sunday, I write that all out. But for each day, like for instance, today, I know I have time in the morning where the house is quiet. I know I have a doctor's appointment today at 12. So I've got from this morning until 12 to create content and work on this part of my business stuff. And then I've got a doctor's appointment, but I know from writing it out that I have 4 different returns at Target, Amazon, a sporting goods place. And those are all in the same area as my doctor. So that's where I'm going to fit that in. So it really helps me to be able to sort of batch geographically some of this stuff. So I'm not like running all over the place last minute, trying to figure out how to get things done. Another thing, I don't know, maybe someday I'll go to school for this and understand psychologically why having a list and scratching things off just like makes me feel like I'm winning for some reason. It's just like to be able to be like, I did that. I got Costco done. I got the laundry, whatever my things are, to be able to see the productivity of the week it's sort of a way of like cheerleading myself and rewarding myself in a way. Obviously, these are things that I'm going to get done for my family regardless. They're things that make me feel better throughout the day. It's incredibly stressful to me when I feel like there's something that I was supposed to do and I dropped the ball. And that can very easily happen with kids, you know? So for the most part, if my kids are asking me for something, or I'm supposed to show up for something, or I'm supposed to be there to transport them to something, I want to be that type of mom that they remember as someone who had it together enough to show up and do it, right? I don't want to always be running late. I don't want to, that causes a lot of stress for my personality type. So to be able to have that mostly organized out and very rarely have things that fall through the cracks is just a big comfort zone to me. And then as far as having a calendar, so I guess this whole podcast is kind of about like how, you know, your calendar or your daily checklist can really help you out. Having that calendar on my phone, for instance, I was taking one kid to therapy, and you know how long it takes to get through. I've got something going on with an ankle. So I swear I spent the majority of the day trying to get through to make an ortho appointment for my ankle and an x-ray appointment for my ankle. But I'm doing all that stuff while I'm transporting that kiddo. To have my calendar on my phone to know when I can make my appointments and when it's going to conflict with something else is huge. So that's why I use the 3 different things. I know that there's probably a way to do everything on your phone, but there's something about writing things out. I'm a journaling person. I'm a write it out person. And I love the reward of being able to tick things off of a list and see what I've actually accomplished for the day. So anyway, that's what really, really helps me out. That's how I keep my things together, my people together. I would also say that that is one of the main reasons that I feel like I have so much free time to pursue things that I love. So I would say I'm painting. I paint these big, beautiful, I'm getting ready to like put these in here so that you can see them, but I paint these big, beautiful paintings. I only started painting about 1.5 years ago. I'll tell you that story another time. But I just love it so much. And I don't know that I would necessarily have the time for it if I weren't batching some of my life, if I weren't kind of like multitasking some of my life by handling my calendar. Being really regimented about my calendar and about what's going on day to day to day frees up a lot of time so I can paint, so I can roll around on the floor and play Legos with my daughter, so that I can fit clients in when I want to. If I didn't handle my calendar like that, I can't even imagine. Actually, I can't imagine, because I've had weeks where things just are out of control and crazy and I'm just off my game, and you can just tell like balls are getting dropped. I don't know what's going on next. It's super stressful. I just want to go to bed. Sometimes, which I've talked to you guys about that on here, like one of my coping mechanisms when I'm stressed is I will either overshop and buy things I don't need, which I don't have an abundance of money right now. So it's like money counts to me. And then I'll overeat as well. And that, you know, causes weight gain, causes, you know, body mechanics issues, all that kind of stuff. So keeping my stress level low, I feel like it's not only good for me, but if I'm doing well and I'm feeling good about where I'm at, if my days are feeling relaxed and supported, like I'm accomplishing some stuff, but I'm not trying to accomplish everything on one day because I slacked off all the other days. It just makes me feel like a relaxed version of myself, a version of myself where I can sit and spend a half an hour talking to one of my teenagers if they feel like they want to talk, where I can enjoy my husband, where I know where my date nights are coming from. I know that I have clean laundry because I had the time to do it. So it just, if someone were to ask me like, what is one of the bigger components of feeling like you're enjoying your life, feeling like you're relaxed, I would have to say it's like get control of your schedule, and whatever. I mean, you could be the type of person where everything's, you know, like on a big desk thing or whatever. Everything's on a computer. You could have personal assistants that help. There's a million ways to go about it. You could have a battle board on the wall. It just kind of depends on what your career is, what your lifestyle is, and it can ebb and flow and flex depending on how you ebb and flow and flex. But if you get control of your life and your schedule, you will see such an amazing difference in the quality of your life, because you end up having time for things that are just like, you know, you end up having time for things that up level your life. Like for instance, I had extra time last night and I'm looking at this like longevity thing, and they're talking about how just a 10-minute walk around the block after dinner can do so much to regulate your blood sugar. And I was telling my husband this morning over coffee, because we have coffee every morning, I'm like, we got to start taking a 10-minute walk, couple laps around the block after dinner, and just chill and like really regulate our blood sugar and see if that makes a difference. But if I'm in such a state, and I've been there, if I'm in such a state of like last minute, can't find my key. Oh my gosh, it's happened so many times. Anybody else have the little Apple key finder on their keys because they've lost their keys so many times? If you're in that state where you're constantly like just in a panic, it's hard to be able to relax and think about things that would make your life better. So consider it, think about it, give me some feedback. I'd love to hear if any of this stuff works for you. And I thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.